we'll give it a couple minutes for everybody to come in. And once again, we had some stream problems. I've tried to schedule them through YouTube, and then when it's time to go live and I do it, it locks the phone in the vertical position instead of horizontal. So from now on, we're not gonna do that. So, all right, I'm gonna stand up for a second. Hey, there we go. We got some people coming in now. So I'm gonna raise this up. All right, there we go. I'll move it a little bit closer. Sorry for the ugly view of me. Hey, Mr. Aaron, thank you so much. Archdale, North Carolina. I have never heard of Archdale. Have you any of y'all heard of Archdale?
Actually, I'm from Liberty.
Okay.
Originally, so you probably know. If you're in Archdale, you know exactly where that is. So, welcome.
Yep. Let us know how the sound is. We have to kind of yell. I'm not fancy. We're using my phone. And, Yeah, well, use mom's phone. So we've got, we're going to wait a couple minutes. What time you got? 7:04. We'll wait till about 10 after and kind of start the stream. Again, if you're just joining us, if you try to come by the link, I've tried to schedule it on my phone through YouTube. It's just giving me problems. So from now on, I'll just announce it, and then I'll set it up about 10 minutes prior so we don't have this. I gave it a second try, it didn't work, so whatever. I'm not fancy with the computer, with the laptop and all that. I just do straight up streaming from my phone. I know a lot of these younger people, they can game and use capture cards and all that good stuff and throw graphics up. Grass Factor's good at that stuff, and they do it from different locations. I am not good at streaming, but to all the members also, thank you so much. Throw off, we got 2 members here that can't use their emotes anymore. So yeah, and later on, we're gonna have my daughter back. She's gonna be closer to the phone this time. So when she reads your questions, you guys will be able to hear what the question is that we're responding to. Somebody told me that was a problem for them last time, so we'll try to make sure that happens. So welcome to everybody coming in. I'm gonna be standing up and walking over here a little bit, so you'll hear my voice looking at these fine gentlemen over here. Mr. Kevin and Mr. Blake. If you missed the last live stream, you got Mr. Kevin on the, I think it's your left. I don't know if that's your left, they're viewing it, but, or maybe it's right, I don't know. But you got Mr. Kevin, my neighbor, and Mr. Blake over here. Mr. Blake's got something he wants to tell you. He had a fun day today, so he's got something to share with you guys later on. We'll save it for when we maybe get a few more people. Again, we're trying to wait till about 10 after. We'll kind of get into the live stream. I don't know how much daylight we have since last time. We're getting shorter on daytime. We had some clouds roll through. It actually feels awesome out here besides the gnats. Mr. Kevin said I need to spray some bifin, so what?
I don't think I should say it.
I could have used this one earlier.
How's it going, you handsome bastard?
Oh, yeah. All right, let's see. Mr. Steven, hey, there you go. He said Mr. Kevin, living legend. Steven Eckert. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name. I'm terrible at pronouncing names. He said he's a living legend.
I don't know about that, but thank you.
That's him on the mower, as you saw. See, here's what makes me mad. So I created this 3-minute pre-stream little trailer. I showed them. And I was like, man, that's so cool. And nobody got to see it. So I did all that work for nothing. I mean, it wasn't a ton of work, but it was to watch before it goes live. And I don't know how to do all that stuff. So anyways, what time we got? I'm guessing we're 6 after.
Yeah, you're about 7 after.
Cool. So how's y'all's Friday going? Who's just chilling at the house? I want to see who's, and name your location. Put your city in the chat, and some of them pop up here on the phone where I can see it. That's why I'm standing up here for now. So I'll be able to see whatever it throws up here, but name your city. We saw Archdale. So let me know where you're at. Make sure you like the stream as well. Click that like button while you're here. I see 2 people did it. Thank you to them. We got Minnesota, David. Man, you might be our winner. DC from, is it Apicon? 2, DC. We got Minnesota, Southern Jersey in the house. Mr. Steven from Southern New Jersey. All right. Yeah. We got Oxford, North Carolina. Hey, that's more in our lane. Springfield, Missouri. All right. Mr. Larry Bird. That guy, I can't remember. Did you say, I think you said his name was David, right?
Oh, okay.
I think it's David, but we said you're Larry now. Your name up there is Larry. We're going to call you Larry because that's easy to remember. But I think he said it was David, but wow, all over the U.S. That's pretty cool. So we got just a couple more minutes, guys, and we're going to kind of kick it off. We're going to talk about just a couple news items first, and then we'll be able to take your question. We got Massachusetts. There's Mr. Larry. The Bay Area, Mr. Ed. Hey, Ed, how's it going? Ed and Larry both. Dan, sorry, not David, Dan. So Larry Bird is Dan. But I said, you're Larry in my mind, so I'm going to call you Larry. So a couple members. Thank you guys for being members as well, man. We appreciate it. So just a couple minutes. We're going to kick it off. We're going to talk about just a couple news items real quick, and then we'll take your questions. So if you guys got some seeding questions, if you've been working in your lawn, again, Mr. Blake's, we're going to get him to share something, what he did today. But we'll talk about that. We got Cedar Lake, Indiana. All right. Way up there in Indiana. Yeah, I was up there at Camp Atterbury. I don't know what city. I can't remember what city is close to Camp Atterbury, but I was up there for many months of my life for military training. So Lucas and Sophia say hello from New Jersey. Mr. James Scott says, hey, Lucas and Sophia from Jersey. Hope y'all are having a good night. It's probably what? I don't know. Y'all are on the same same time zone, so it's probably about this daylight out there. But thank you guys for tuning in so much. So, well, I think it's close to 10 after. It feels like 2 minutes have went by. So we're just going to kind of talk about some grass and news things real fast. Obviously, we brought these guys back because we're all on different levels. Thank you for tuning in. We wanted to do another September live stream just to talk about maybe since the last time we did a live stream, what we've been up to and what we've been doing. One of the things that we can tell you here where we live in central North Carolina, being so many of your Minnesota, Massachusetts, we got Oxford. Oxford can probably relate to this, but we've yet to get a lot of rain here, man. We've been in the 90s. We've hit almost 100 this past week. It's been humid. Ever since Idala, the little tropical storm, came up from Florida, we got 0.4 inches of rain from that.
You did. Y'all did.
Oh, we did. Blake
I
didn't
got
even
4
get
inches.
that. 4 inches? Yeah, Blake got 4 inches, and he lives, 20 minutes from me. He got 4 inches of rain. We got 0.4. So, I mean, even this afternoon, we had some stuff from Raleigh coming up towards us, and it just kind of split right down the middle. We had probably an inch of rain to the right and an inch of rain to the left. We got nothing. So we're sitting out on the back porch. It's cloudy, it's beautiful, the temperatures are awesome, but we're super dry here. So that's nothing new. So we're still feeling like summer here in central North Carolina. The other thing I was going to mention is I got my pre-emergent down. That got watered in, but I had to do it by the sprinklers. I don't think you've been out working on much lately, right, Mr. Kevin?
I got some pre-emergent down, and it somewhat got watered in. I think we'll go with it. I think the next thing is probably just spraying a lot of weeds. There's, one of the things that you see coming out of the really super hot season is a lot of weed pressure.
Yeah.
You know that, you've seen it.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of it because my lawn's just a little bit thinner. So I think one of the things I'm going to do is kind of a broadcast spray next.
There you go.
And we'll see what happens from there.
We've been playing in Mr. Kevin's yard. There's some type of viney weed that's tried to creep in his yard. It's creeped in his neighbor's yard. I've seen it at the golf course. Now I've seen it over in my ditch, and it's some kind of viney. I had to show you guys that on a video at some point. But we took some of the green shoots and we destroyed some of it, but obviously everywhere we put it, we destroyed it. But it's almost like a viney top. It's like a rug. Mr. Blake said, that's like a rug. You can just tear that joker out. So when it died, we can pull it out. So we've been playing with weeds and killing Bermuda and all that good stuff. But Mr. Blake, did you do anything today of interest to the viewers out there, for everybody?
Just a little bit.
Go for it. The floor is yours.
So for me, it was D-Day. So today was D-Day.
Yeah.
I wanted to wait a little bit later, but I have some catering events and stuff that are filling up the weekends. So this was my opportunity to go ahead and throw it down. So I got up this morning, went and picked up the aerator, aerated, overseeded, just in time to come here and be live with you guys.
All right, and so he did we were laughing and joking. We had dinner before the live stream. We was talking about the good old days when me and Mr. Kevin had to walk behind aerator. So I said, what aerator? He's like, no. He's like, I ain't messing with that joker. He got the ride on aerator. Tell him what kind of seed you went with this year. or what did you have previously, and what did you overseed with this year?
So previously I had the regular triple threat turf type tall fescue. This year I decided to go with the triple threat plus, which has 5% bluegrass. So excited to see how that comes out.
Yep.
And looking at my soil results, I decided to go with flagship as my throwdown for that.
Cool. Yep. So that's and if you're like, what the heck is a triple threat? Sounds like a baseball term or something for the best 3 batters on the roster is a triple threat or something.
Yeah.
But it's a local blend. We put that in the front yard. If you are new to the channel, whatever, it's a local North Carolina blend. I think they grow it in Rolesville, North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken.
They do.
And bag it up. And yeah, so you'll see my triple threat hat, shirt. We all got some merch from them. So he also went core aerator for the first time instead of spike aeration, which is like the drum. So I'm curious to see if that makes any type of, if he notices any difference between just, you know, hooking that joker up to his mower and tearing it up as he was telling us during dinner versus a core aerator where you put the plugs. He said he was getting about 3-inch plugs because he has had rain. So that makes a big difference too. So if you haven't aerated yet and it's dry like it is in our yard, me and Mr. Kevin both one year, I remember the night before we watered because it was so dry, especially down here at my shed. I was like, it was like concrete. I still only got like half to an inch in the ground because it's so dry. So if you've not yet aerated, make sure you make it water the ground, get some water into it so you can pull some cores out. But I am interested to see if he notices a difference in the spike aeration, drum style aeration versus the walk behind and the core aeration. So he had his D-Day today. He got the seed down. I think you said you did tenacity, RGS. So we'll have to keep you posted here, on the channel. We've done one segment where you guys can watch in the channel history of Mr. Blakeshard, but we'll have to keep you posted on how that's going for him. So besides that, the last thing before we take your questions is if you didn't hear some pretty big news. It's probably the reason why I chose to wear Pete's hat tonight, just because I like it. I play golf in a lot too, but I like his hat. It's a good hat. But Pete is now, if you didn't hear his email, or I think he just did a video the other day where he was talking about how he messed up in his yard, that his seed is now changing. It's why I mentioned what I mentioned in today's video, that the Cool Blue that we bought is the old Cool Blue mixture, and his turf type tall fescue is going to be different in the future, as well as his other seeds. He is now going to be blue tag certified, and basically, as he explained in the email to everybody, I guess it means maybe a slight bump in price, number one, which he's like, he's like, I don't really want to hit people, my DIYers, with more cost of seed, but it does mean GCI seed's going to go up, which may cause some people to say, man, I don't know. The seed itself is absolutely wonderful. I love Pete's seed. I plan on using Pete's seed again. That's one of the things Mr. Blake's talked about. He literally said, I had them both open on my phone, and like, I could go triple threat, save 40 bucks. I could go Pete. I know they're both blue tag certified now, but at the time, I believe only the triple threat was blue tag certified. So to be specific, it's another inspection of the seed to make sure you're getting what you pay for. That's what the blue tag is. Some people are like, well, you're just paying you're just paying more money to make sure it's perfect. It's like Pete's seed was never blue tag certified, and it was wonderful, and it's always going to be weed free. But to have that blue tag, I guess, gives them more, I don't know, elevate your seed to a different class with all the other ones, I guess. So anyways, you got any thoughts on that?
No, and a lot of people argue that they want to see a blue tag seed. Right. And, I could see that. I can see the reason why, but, I think the GCI brand, I've trusted the GCI brand. I've used their seed, I've used their products, and we'll probably do so again. But, it's one of those things where, if you want that safety and that security, now you have it. Yep. But like everything in life, you're going to pay for it. Yep. So. Yep.
Any thoughts on that? No? Good?
No, you get what you pay for.
You guys got to keep an eye on Mr. Blake. Like we said, today was his D-Day. He threw down, he got his wife involved. I told him no falling asleep on the stream. So.
And we ate right before this.
And we ate chicken and smoked mac and cheese. He brought some baked chicken, barbecue chicken, some smoked mac and cheese. My wife made some potatoes. We had some green beans. we're feeling good. So we may be,
Yeah,
we may have to stand up and do some wiggling on this one just to stay awake. But no, it was good food, so we
I
appreciate
do
it.
have energy drinks. So
Yeah, he's got energy drinks. So, but that's like Mr. Kevin said, it's exactly right. So there is you can expect a bump in the cost of GCI seed going forward. Now, Pete also, lastly, he said on this that he picked A-list cultivars. So the blend of GCI turf type tall fescue is going to change too. I think I read that he specifically said in the cool blue he left the midnight cultivar because he liked it, and even though it's technically not an A-list cultivar of Kentucky bluegrass, he liked it and he's going to keep that in his cool blue. There's also, I couldn't find this and I didn't have time to look it up before the live stream, but we're thinking that it's possible that his Spreader Elite may end up being in the turf type tall fescue seed. I'm not 100% sure on that, but we think, I think I've heard rumors. I don't know, maybe I've read it somewhere. I don't know. Don't quote me on this, but the Spreader Elite, obviously it's a lateral spreading fescue. It's got the traits of Kentucky bluegrass, you know, similar to Bermuda grass, but it's fescue and it spreads. Pete did a great video on that guy that blows my lawn away that spends 6,000 gallons of water a week. It was an awesome video. Go check it out. But he showed an area that he said was damaged. I don't know if it's, no, it couldn't have been fungus because this guy said he sprays fungus every 14 days. I was like, whoo, yeah, he's got a bank account. He's retired too, so you can't go all comparing yourself to a guy that's retired. And I mean, he's out there. You can tell he puts his work in his lawn. Looks awesome. So not knocking him at all, but he had an area basically that was damaged. He did work something, and that spreading fescue, Spreader Elite, basically started to repair itself, and he showed it on camera. I thought that was pretty cool. I mentioned that to Kevin. Told me about the video, went and watched it, and he's like, "You see that guy's lawn?" I was like, "Man, that is some awesome stuff there." So big changes to the GCI seed. So this year, if you already bought your seed, doesn't matter. If you're looking to jump into it, we talked about spectators versus participators, and some people's like, I'm going to give this lawn thing a try this year. Hey, it's out there. I don't know if he's sold out, but there's lots of different options out there. But if you do buy the seed now, I believe you may be getting a different blend. And Pete did, let me lastly mention that he did say it will blend it with the GCI seed you've already seeded in your lawns. It's not going to stand out and look completely ridiculous now because it's a different blend versus the old blend. It's going to match perfectly. So I trust him in that, and wholeheartedly. So go look that up. Go do your own research if you need to buy seed. So expect more costs next year. Save over the next 12 months if you plan on overseeding. I do plan on overseeding next year. I don't know what that decision will be. Like Mr. Blake, I may go local with triple thread again. I may go to try the new, it's really going to be tempting to try that new GCI blend because that spreading capability, maybe that's where he's going to justify the cost, because you don't have to necessarily overseed every year. If you keep putting spreading fescue in your lawn, it keeps repairing itself. That's a cool benefit, you know? So when you do have gaps and areas that die off, if once the cool season soil temps come back, it keeps repairing itself. That's a pretty cool addition for a little extra money. But like Kevin said, you get what you pay for. So who knows? We'll go from there. So all right. So my daughter Natalie is here once again. She's going to move closer to the camera. This is the time where we're just going to take your questions for whoever, for all of us, for one of us. You want to ask Mr. Blake how he makes his barbecue chicken, you ask it. If you want to ask Mr. Kevin how he's so cool with that shirt and you know, and all that good stuff, you can ask him. So ask your questions. If you've got questions about your recent seeding, you know, Blake did his today. Me and Kevin's done pre-emergent, and I've not done anything but pre-emergent, and we sprayed some weeds recently. I did some tenacity recently and an RGS spray, but I've yet to do my fall fertilizing. I looked at the soil temps before we came out here, and here in central North Carolina, we're at 81 degrees. So we're not even in the 70s right now. We've been in the 90s, and so our soil is still hot. I'm just not I put the lawn striper on, as you guys saw not too long ago, and now I've had to just let the grass keep growing because it's so friggin' hot. You don't want to get on it and mess it up. So, all right, so now, yeah, go for it.
Well, but that's an important point too, is soil temperature.
Yes.
Depending on where you are in the country right now, you know, those of you in the northern, you know, New Jersey, Minnesota, all that, you're probably in the window where you need to go ahead and throw down.
Oh yeah.
This is the time.
Location based. Yeah.
I'll tell you, you know, even if you don't use it for anything else, the Yard Mastery app has a great soil temp monitor.
Yep.
And it will, you can set it up to kind of flag you, but you know, 70 is the magic number. You know, as you approach 70, you know, you want to look at either seeding or pre-emergent. And then again at 55, that's when, you know, your grass will start going dormant.
Yep.
And you can do a second window of pre-emergent if you go that route. So.
Yep, absolutely. And that's when that's exactly what I'm doing to wait on my fall application. I am biting at the bit to put down that urea. And we do have a crazy guy that rides his freaking four-wheeler on our road all the time. So if you hear it, I apologize. But based on what he just said, the soil, I'm waiting on soil temperatures to at least start dipping down consistently to 74, 73, somewhere around there. I feel more comfortable putting more nitrogen in the yard. We keep getting these 90s, and then we're supposed to be like lowering out into the low 80s coming up soon. September is our month to start cooling down. But like he said, if you're up north, it's go time now. You're ahead of us. That's why I started making all these fall overseeding videos back in July and August, because you guys are ahead of us because you're further north. So anything you got on that? You want to say about that?
I mean,
Wake up.
I wanted to wait, but
Yeah.
like I said, but today I checked the app and it was like 77. So
Yeah. And he's also going on vacation. So that's a,
that's
But I actually talked you out of seeding last weekend, right? Because you were
I thought
you were
about doing
ready.
it last weekend. I was ready.
yeah, we're biting at the bit, man. And that's where, you know, like we talked about Poa annua, the NC State graphic. I've drilled it in my head. 80% of Poa annua, 1 September to 30 October. That's when it germinates. So for me, not overseeding this year, I jumped on it early. But like for actual seeding, you want to be in the 70s, like he said. But again, it may not work out to where you can do it, right? Well, Mr. Ferguson, I got this, I got kids baseball, I got, you know, cross country for the school, all this stuff. I'm going on vacation. It may not work out, and you may have to throw down early. That's fine, you know. But once you get it down, the other main thing is water. Don't be stingy on the water. I told my wife that first 2 years, we're going to have to, for the next 7 to 10 days, I am watering every single day to keep that seed moist. And everywhere I put peat moss, the seed germinated first. Everywhere I didn't put peat moss, it came up second, but I kept it moist. Keep it moist, keep it moist. Don't let the sun dry it out. Don't forget about it. You know, get your kids to water it, whatever you got to do. Keep it wet so you get that germination, then start backing off of it. So, all right, there we go. So, question time. So Natalie's going to move over. We need to get you a chair. I'll get you a chair and you can stand. She's going to sit by the camera, or she can stand there, and you don't have to be in front of the camera. You can be right there and they can hear you. But let me get you on a chair.
Yeah.
All right, so you can introduce yourself and tell them something about Natalie.
Hi. I like to run. Yeah.
She does. She likes to run a lot.
No, I signed up for cross country and I don't like running, so I don't really know why I did that. Okay. Do you want the...
All right, so what she's going to do is we're kind of, there's like a time delay too, so you may type your question, it pops up, and it may be delayed, so we apologize if we don't get to your question. If it don't get read and you really want to have an answer, you may want to retype it again, but Natalie's going to pull them as she sees them. We'll discuss it, and then she'll look, and whatever's there, she's just going to say, so say the name and then read the question best you can. So
Do you prefer like one of the like most recent, or like one that was sent?
just whatever.
Fire off.
Fire away.
Fire away. Yeah.
When should I shut down my sprinklers here in Michigan?
Who asked it?
Oh, RMD.
RMD says, when should I shut down my sprinklers?
Here in Michigan.
Well, that's an open-ended question.
Well, Michigan, you know, being as you're that far north, you know, like I was talking about soil temperatures a minute ago,
Yeah.
you definitely want to watch that.
Yeah.
So once you hit 55, and once you get below 55, that's I think there's some services that'll winterize your sprinklers up there. So basically they hook an air hose up to it, they blow the sprinkler out, get the water out. You know, somewhere up there, we don't have to worry about that here,
Right.
thankfully.
Yeah.
But up there, you know, it's one of those you want to get the water out of the line before the ground freezes, which, you know, that's one of the things you can get. There's an online tool called I think it's Syngenta Greencast.
Yeah. The Greencast
So you
website.
can use a Greencast tool. It's a website, and that'll kind of forecast what your soil temperatures in your local area will look like. It's definitely good for kind of projecting out, because I typically use it every year to kind of plan, you know, when I'll hit a certain temperature. It doesn't mean that that's exactly when you're going to hit it, but it might be. Wow, that's bright.
Yeah. Sorry, we turned the light on. I don't. Kevin's like, "Are you sure that's the right answer?" but to what he's saying, as far as temperatures, you definitely don't want water in your pipes in the freezing ground. So be early on that, if anything. Don't be late. Whatever you do, like he said. Yeah, the Yard Mastery app's really going to help you out. When you get anywhere near 42, I would be like, let's get the guy scheduled, because you don't know if other neighbors are doing exactly, calling a service in like that. So I would be ahead of the game, and it's all location based. Again, we're in North Carolina, so I could be like, you ain't got to worry about till December, and you would blow all the pipes out in your yard and be like, that guy, and curse me.
Well, typically here the ground doesn't freeze.
Right.
Or if it
Oh,
does,
yeah.
it will be a brief period of time.
Probably February, if it's ever going to be for us. It'd probably be February,
we just don't see that much.
No,
of it,
that's something that we don't, and we don't deal with snow mold. We don't. So when they're like, what the heck is snow mold? You guys, Jersey, Minnesota, y'all know all about snow and snow mold and all that. We don't. If we get half an inch, the school's shut down. The bread is off the shelves. The milk is gone. I'm dead serious. If you've ever been to the South, you saw Atlanta and what happened, and you've seen those pictures of what was that? Glenwood, right? Glenwood Boulevard. Is that what it was? By the crab tree?
Yeah, the one they made memes
yeah,
out
they
of.
made memes out of it. It's got the State Puff Marshmallow Man and everything. That's Raleigh. That's like, people lose their minds. They cancel school. We're gonna have half an inch of snow. So anyways, but yeah, we're not experts definitely on that, but be ahead of the game. Don't get caught off guard. So, all right, next person in question.
Aaron Coggins says, I plan on my D-Day next weekend. What are your views on Jonathan Green Ultra Black Beauty Seed?
I'm going to defer this question to the people that have used it. So now, again, this is also location based though, but they both used it. So Mr. Kevin addressed this last week, but here you go. I'll let them answer while I shut this door.
I used it my first year, and I learned it's a great seed. It's beautiful, it's pretty, but it is 15% bluegrass, and I was not aware of how much water was needed to keep that up. So I had a lot of die-off, but I did like the seed. I love the color. It came in beautiful, filled up, but yeah, was not prepared to add that much water, and I had a lot of die-off.
And I'll echo the same thing. One of the things, I love bluegrass. Bluegrass is I think somebody had asked in your post getting ready for this, what would be your ideal seed? Bluegrass. Absolutely.
Hands down.
Without a doubt. The problem is, especially in the transition zone, you're going to need a ton of water with bluegrass. I mean, it's going to be some of the most beautiful grass you've ever seen. But if you're on a county or municipal water system like we are, it'll drink you out of house and home. So again, beautiful seed, especially if you're in the northern, like I think one of you said you were from Minnesota.
Yep.
That would be an absolutely beautiful seed to put in your yard.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And like he said, even though Mr. Blake had a well, it still caught him off guard.
It still caught me off
And that's
guard.
how you learn too. So don't think, oh crap, I done screwed up. These guys told me it needs a ton of water. It don't matter where you live in the United States. Bluegrass, just period, needs a ton of water. So be prepared for that. Now, like he said, if you're on a city type system, you're going to be paying for that. You need to start budgeting now, because if you're planning it, like, oh crap, then either plan on it dying off or supplying it the water it needs, and then come back with the Black Beauty Ultra next year without the bluegrass. That's what I did. The Cool Blue, by far, it was my most favorite lawn when it was cold here in North Carolina, and as soon as it got hot, it was impossible to keep it. Yeah, my whole yard was white. Like there was no watering to save that. And so I just let it go, and I replanted with normal turf type tall fescue. But it is an absolute one. They make that seed on purpose, but mainly I would agree with him. Northern Virginia and up, that's where you're more safe, because even though I just saw the temps, I think I just saw New York yesterday, Jersey, you guys were up in the 95-degree, but that's very rare for you guys. That's normal here. And so Pete did it. Pete also has a timer and pumps and equipment and stuff we don't have, and he got a whole plot of Kentucky bluegrass that looks phenomenal, but we can't do that. And especially where me and him live right here, we can't afford that much water. It takes more water than you can imagine. So, but yeah, if you planted it and you will supply it with enough water and everything and fertilize it right, it looks phenomenal. You're not going to want to change it. The brand is irrelevant. It just looks, Jonathan Green back here when I planted it is a different shade of green than GCI. They're both beautiful, but they're two different shades, but they blend in well if you like on mine, but it's a good seed. I mean, you can't go wrong with Jonathan Green Black Beauty Ultra. It's a good seed. So sorry. Yep.
Okay.
Louder so they can hear you.
Neil White says, "Hey, Mr. Ferguson, when do you stop using fungicides?"
Sure. So for me, as the ground temperature's lower, I think you're more safe later on. Like Mr. Kevin was saying, when you're getting back in the 70s and stuff, it's not as much of a threat. I've never used, I think the last time I've used fungicide when I was overseeding was at the time of overseeding. I applied propiconazole, mainly because if you don't know this, propiconazole is labeled, says it on the label, will help with germination. I don't know how much it helps with germination, but it says on propiconazole it can help your seed to germinate maybe a day or so quicker. So that's applying fungicide. So last year I did add that into my mix in the front yard and just sprayed it in the backyard. And that's typically the last time I mess with fungicide, at least here in North Carolina. Again, the further north you are, see, the thing about fungus is when we get humidity, we're getting hot ground temperatures, you're getting rain at night, it's hot outside, that's when fungus likes to pop up. But when we start cooling down, the temperature of the ground starts cooling down, fungus ain't a big deal. Now we're dealing with Poa annua, you're dealing with Poa triv, but you got a whole new set of problems, but fungus isn't really that. And then once you get back into, at least here in North Carolina, like May, the ground temperatures are getting right back up there. Crabgrass is coming out again. Your Poa annua is dying off. Your crabgrass is coming in, but now you're dealing with the fungus issue. You're dealing with brown patch and dollar spot and Pythium or whatever it's called. And so really in North Carolina, I can tell you from like May until I'd say September or maybe 1st of October, that's fungicide time. But again, like Pete and them, they're out in Reedsville, they're on a higher elevation than we are here in the Raleigh area, so the air is cooler there. The ground temperatures may be lower, so they may quit with fungicides before we need to. But that location based again, I think you got to go back to soil temperatures. That's how I would look at it, is when I'm getting down into the mid to lower 70s, I think you're good. But if you're seeing with your own eyes, you're seeing it, there's nothing wrong with mixing up some fungicides and spraying it. So.
And I would say consistent soil temperatures, because one of the things that we get here and anywhere in the transition zone is you get waves. Because we hit a 70 degree soil temperature about 2 weeks ago, and then it shot back up. False fall as they call it, right? So,
Yeah, it was like a week and a half ago, and so if Mr. Blake would have played like, man, I timed it perfect, well then here comes the 90s, and now we're going back down to the lower 80s, and I think we're going to hit back in the lows in the upper 60s. So that's why I always give you a weather report in the video, because it matters. Like, so the soil temperatures, like he said, they keep going up and down. The sun's heating them up, and then we'll cool down some. So it's like you're never, if you're a little early, it's fine. If you're a little late, my dad is he don't listen to anything I say. So, because he's dad, he's been around more than me, right? He'll seed in like the end of October, and I'll be like, you're seeding too late. Soil temperatures are like 64, Dad. And he's like, and it comes up and it looks beautiful. So I'm like, what do I know? So it doesn't.
With the 10-10-10.
Yeah, with 10-10-10, yep. And so it doesn't mean like, oh man, I'm screwed, I can't do it. But it's lawn care. We learned, like he said, he planted the Kentucky, the Jonathan Green Black Beauty Ultra.
Yeah.
He lost a lot of it. Mr. Blake learned something, and now he knows, and he can give you a war story about that first year of his grass where he learned about Kentucky bluegrass from experience. And so now he's planting more with 5% instead of 15. So now we can be able to see, hey, now he's more prepared for that this year than he was the first year. So either way, you're going to learn. Oh, I learned not to put my fungicide away because I got it that one year back in September when I was talking to Mr. Ferguson and them guys. So just keep your eye on it. But if it bothers you mentally, there's nothing wrong with mixing up some propiconazole and just do a preventative type spray or a curative if you're seeing it. and then let it go. I would feel like it would be your last one though if it was me. So, Natalie,
The fish says,
Fish. Hey, Fish. You got the WWE symbol on there. Yep.
Yeah.
I remember Fish.
will a higher nitrogen winter fertilizer cause snow mold? Hold on, let me say that again.
Huh?
Let me say it again.
Yeah, say it again.
Will a higher nitrogen winter fertilizer I can't speak.
Well, like
fertilizer
high nitrogen winter fertilizer
cause snow mold?
cause snow mold. I don't know the answer to that. Next. We don't deal with it, so.
Yeah, I'm not 100%. I would say, you know, based on what I've seen, I'd probably stay away from a high nitrogen application, you know, as your last one of the year. That's just general practice. You know, now whether it does or does not cause or prevent snow mold, I couldn't tell you, just because we don't get that much.
Right.
You know, I can't help you there, but in general, you know, even, you know, they tell you this with, and you know, a lot of people will talk about a winterizer application, right? And
Right.
there's different opinions on that.
Right.
Some people say that, you know, doing a winterizer is useless.
Right.
I can tell you in the transition zone, it absolutely is. If you put fertilizer down, the ground is going to use it because our ground doesn't freeze.
Yep.
If your ground does freeze, I probably wouldn't throw fertilizer down on it just for it to sit there until spring. You know,
Yeah.
that's just me.
You gonna say something? No, I do. I remember Ryan Knorr talking about this, that I think he goes against winterizer period because he said when he throws it out, when spring comes around and then it starts eating it up or using it up, all of a sudden he gets massive growth. And he's like, now I'm out here mowing like every day and a half. He's like, I don't like that. So he's against it. He would rather wait and kind of like do a spoon feeding. And then, so he don't like the winterizer thing. I've tried to time it, but like Mr. Kevin said, here in North Carolina, our ground don't freeze, so it doesn't. I feel like one year I got it to where we were cooler and it held color for a long time, but over a period of time, because our ground don't freeze, it just kind of slowly lightens up in color. But I tried to lock it in a dark green and it did for a while. But yeah, I'm not sure on the snow mold fish. That's something where somebody up north, a local lawn care company or someone that deals in your area would be more appropriate probably to ask about snow mold. So
Okay. Launstradamus
okay.
says, Mr. Ferg, which is your favorite local golf course and what is your dream course?
Ooh, good question.
Dream course is simple, the Masters at Augusta, for two reasons. Number one, it's just gorgeous. I would love, so if you don't know this about golf, at the Masters, it's in once a year in beginning of April, if I'm not mistaken. They've shifted it around. But I went to AIT, which is military school in Augusta, Georgia, and I didn't really play golf then. So I was literally 20 minutes away from Tiger Woods playing at the Masters, and I had no idea that Tiger Woods was 20 minutes away playing at the Masters. I knew Augusta was like the Masters. I was like, okay, golf, who cares? Now that I'm into it and been into it for a while, Augusta, I would love you. The only way you could, like a peasant like me can get tickets is you have to submit your email to a lottery, and every year they pick peasants out of the lottery and they say, hey, you're eligible to buy $1,000 tickets or whatever. So you have to earn the right to buy the overpriced tickets to be able to go watch the Masters. So, and that's a dream of mine. I would love to be able to go. So if any of you know a relative that works at Augusta National, or if you know, if you have any connections, see me after class and let's have a talk. But locally, me and my dad like to play, it's called the River Golf and Country Club in Lewisburg, North Carolina. It's really near Lake Royale. Beautiful, it's narrow, it's tough, a lot of trees. Can't hit the ball too far out to the left or right, or you lose it a lot of times. So it really makes you hit the ball. You got to be more accurate than long is more important. We play other courses like Zebulon Country Club. We played one down in Wilson called Wedgwood. It's more open where you can just kind of just grip it and rip it, and if it lands way right, you're fine. You can still have a shot at the green, but not at the river. You'd be 20 feet in the woods and you can't find your ball. So we've done a Thursday night Super Bowl league with an older couple in our church. We got a lady that's pretty good off the red tee, so she can bomb it sometimes. And then my dad and Mr. Mike, he hits off the gold tee, and I'm the the young buck that hits off the white tee. But we have a good time. We've won first place a couple times. Shoot, last night we got 6 under. We should have been 7 under, but yeah, I enjoy it. Golf is fun. It teaches you a lot. It's a individual sport, but you know, it can become a team game. But it teaches you a lot about yourself. You got to stay when you do stuff that are ignorant, like we do in lawn care. You gotta like, all right, it's over, move on. You got to have short-term memory loss. So, but anyways, that would be my answer. So, Natalie.
Wendy Getty says, "Hi, I'm having trouble trying to find the right fertilizer to use as seeding. The UOFD suggests 32 to 3 to 10. Will a winter fert with those numbers be okay?"
32, 3, 10.
That's unusual.
It is. That
That's-
is an
that's a
unusual
different wind
analysis.
there.
Yeah.
Because the typical ratio is it a 4-1-2?
Something like that.
I'm trying to remember. I'm not good with numbers.
Me neither.
Anybody that knows me knows that well. Typically what you want to use around seeding, and again, this will vary based on your local soil, but you know, if you haven't done a soil test or anything like that, look for something that has a decent nitrogen number. So that's the first one. You want a little bit of phosphorus, and then you want a decent amount of potassium. So typically the ratio is like a 4-1-2, and if all else fails, I'm a huge fan of Milorganite because you can't mess that up. It's a natural fertilizer. It's slow release, and you can't go wrong. We got a peanut gallery. So, and the other thing that you can do is, you know, a lot of starter fertilizers. You know, we joke and talk about 10-10-10
Yep.
or 12-12-12 or whatever it might be.
Right.
But that's it. You know, you could use that at seeding, and that's a good fertilizer to use as well. So.
Yeah, we talked about this on the channel on one of the videos. I get them all scrambled up. I do so many dang videos I can't remember. But yeah, like he said, your soil test is going to give you the answer. But if you're like, I ain't got time for that, I ain't got time to run dirt up to a building, and I don't have time to ship it off in the mail, that's fine. Like somebody said, it may have been Pete, may have been somebody else listed. If you've just got a bag of something from last year for winterizer, it's fine. Like it's going to be okay. Like the purpose is to feed your grass and have something to feed on. But he's right. Like it doesn't have to now. Alan Hain, I think, talks about how the winterizer word that he was saying is all marketing. It's to say, buy this, it's for winterizer. There is nothing for winterizer. It's just saying it's your last application of the season. So anything you may have in the shed, like Mr. Kevin just did this not long ago. He's like, hey, I got some 1776, or maybe that was you. Somebody had something, it's like, I'm just gonna throw that out. That's what I got, that's fine. But like he said, you typically, when you're in the fall, when you're in September to November, for us, we're still fertilizing sometimes in November. You can use a higher number, like he said, nitrogen mix than you can in the summer. We don't want to go high nitrogen. I sprayed the green effect not too long ago, and I believe spraying that really helped the sun beat down the grass more. And I was like, okay, that's the first time I really paid attention to applying nitrogen. Plus 90 degrees came. We talked about the false fall. That's when I sprayed it. I was like, oh yeah, we're about to get, and then here comes the heat. And it's like the grass started struggling again. I'm out here watering all the time. And so whether that was true or not, I don't know, but I think it was. But yeah, in the fall time, high nitrogen is okay. Just be careful, measure your applications, look it up, Google it. Google FERT calculator can probably help you. You put in the analysis, it can tell you how much are you trying to achieve per 1,000. I want to do 1/2 pound of nitrogen. It can convert those numbers. Like you said, we're not numbers people. But it can help you. There's calculators online that can help you with that as well. But any FERT, technically, yeah. And if you're growing new seed, like Mr. Kevin said, phosphorus is what helps those baby roots to get going. So phosphorus, the middle number, is something positive to put in the soil. And if you've never done a soil test, it's probably something that you do need to add as phosphorus. So that's what starter FERT normally is. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
Daughter.
Michael Lansdale wanted me to say his. I accidentally skipped him. He said, if you have mostly tall type,
Turf type tall fescue.
that, but you do have some common Bermuda, but you can't afford
Fusillade, yep.
Do you just deal with Bermuda? It's gonna come back anyways.
Yep, it's. I'll let these guys answer if they want to, but yeah, like this year I've noticed, and I think I even told or showed Kevin at one point, but I've seen it popping up, and I think I've shown at least once in the in videos. But some people say, well, that's nimbleweed that looks similar to Bermuda. I'm pretty sure it's Bermuda. And personally, when I've tested Fusillade too, I still got the whole bottle back there. You literally use like I can't remember the number now, but it's like 0.3 or something, or 0.17, I can't remember. But I went overboard the first time I mixed it, sprayed it in the ditch just to test it, and torched it. So I had to overseed that last year. Then I lowered it back down because everybody said, it's powerful, be careful, it's powerful. And so when spraying it, and you got to do it when Bermuda is actively growing, which is summer, which is bad for fescue, I sprayed it at the proper rates, and it not only did it smoke the Bermuda, but it smoked the fescue. So I had to reseed. And if you guys remember, I wish I could throw pictures up. This is in the video where I would show you. I had that area in the ditch that was like patches, that was bare, because I put Fusillade there, and it killed the good grass. So I've not found anything. I heard Pylex is another type of herbicide that's supposed to fight warm season grass and cool season lawns. The problem with them that I've found is you're applying a herbicide in the summer when the Bermuda is actively growing to attack it, but your fescue is already struggling from heat. And if you've done something stupid like put down green effect like Mr. Ferguson, then applying a herbicide can cut out that area. Now, caveat to that, if I'm like Mr. Blake and I'm like, well, I know that next year I'm gonna overseed. Well, then this upcoming summer, 2024, you may say, okay, well, I know some of this is gonna die off, but I'm on a mission to eradicate Bermuda. The problem is it withers away in the winter. It goes away, it browns up, it's gone. And then all of a sudden in the spring, the late spring, because Bermuda needs that heat to really start popping, you see those different colored, what the heck is this? All of a sudden it's like, what, June-ish around here in North Carolina, there's the Bermuda. And now if you're applying it, you're gonna kill the fescue. So there's different products out there. They're expensive. The Fusillade is expensive. But if you already plan on overseeding in the fall, I would say that's the time to attack it and just say, it's cool. I ain't gonna worry if it kills this grass. I'm gonna try to limit putting it on the fescue I can, but I'm gonna spray this Fusillade or this Pylex all around here. If it kills an area, it's cool. I'm gonna aerate and overseed anyway. And then come fall, and then you lay off of it. Come fall time, you overseed and you roll with it. So that's my answer. I don't know if you've got any different answers that you guys. I can say on the strip, let me add this last point about Bermuda. Yeah, she turned the light on. On the strip over here that I have to hand water and everything, I had a Bermuda problem there. Here's what I did. In year 2, I think, I mowed it all down to like an inch and glyphosated the whole thing. I killed the whole strip off and then reseeded it. And I hand to God, I don't have any more Bermuda over there. I didn't use any Fusillade. I didn't use any Pylex. I killed off the whole strip. Now you're talking about a strip that's, I don't know, 10, 12 feet and 2 feet wide. So it's very small, but when it was time to overseed, I just used Roundup, killed it all off, cut it low, smoked everything. Did it maybe twice, I can't remember, but cutting it short, killed it off, replanted it, hit peat moss on top of it to make sure and regrew it. And I don't have a Bermuda problem there anymore. It may eventually come over from my neighbors, but I have it mainly in my front right quadrant of my lawn. It's just popping up over there. So there's many different ways to handle it. You can go the cut low, glyphosate, I'll seed it in fall method. You can go the Fusillade, is a different, just a substitute for Roundup, but it is a battle that, yeah, like this year I'm just saying whatever. Like I don't even care. I just stay thick lawn, and so I'm not even fighting it this year. So.
And I'll add real quick. It depends on where you're seeing it. If it's mixed into your fescue and it's some spot in your yard that you're not walking by every day, you might leave it alone.
Yeah, for a while.
Because like you said, it will probably come back.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with it. Bermuda it's invasive. I have one spot that I pull out constantly. I've got another spot in the middle of my yard. I let it go because I don't notice it until I mow, and because of course when you cut the top off of it, it turns brown and then it grows back green a couple of days later.
Yeah. So. And remember, like we've talked about this several times with the Poetriv, like people that are walking by your lawn, They don't see Bermuda. They see, I had a guy that was at my neighbor's 2 days ago. He's up on the roof. I think it was the insurance guy, because we got our roof done. Mr. Kevin got his roof done. Our neighbor over here, they're getting their roof done. So this guy's up and I'm out here watering. He's like, man, your grass is awesome. I didn't tell him we had a YouTube guy. I was just like, thanks, man. He's like, it looks like a shag rug. And I was like, well, come back in, yeah, it looks like just a piece of carpet, man. I said, well, come back in October, it'll look better. And he laughed. He's like, man, it looks awesome. So point being, it's not, my yard's so great, but I'm sitting here thinking about Bermuda. I'm thinking about how withered the backyard is, and I'm out here watering it. This guy's talking about, man, that looks like carpet. And he's like going on and on about it. And I'm like, it looks terrible right now. So point being, like when you're out there looking over top of it, like Kevin said, you're seeing all these problems here, but when the people walk by, they're like, oh my gosh, look at what this guy, they see the big picture. So don't focus so much on it. I think if you let it go a year, like eventually it has to be dealt with, right? It's like, yeah, we might as well deal with it now and deal with it every year. You could. But like this year, I was like, I'm not messing with Fusillade. I want the front yard to become 2-year-old root depth, not kill it with Fusillade and have to reseed. And that was my first problem was the first 3 years. I keep overseeding new grass, and you know, and it keeps dying off. I keep starting over basically. You want to get your grass, you want to get some years on your grass and just kind of let it do its thing, get the root depth, and it can take a bigger punch like herbicide and heat and survive. So that's another, and that's kind of why I just did pre-emergent this year. I'm not, and even Pete emailed me and said, are you using, I think he was going to let me try a seed, and I said, no, I'm just doing pre-emergent. He's like, man, he's like, that's cool that you don't have to deal with it, but it's another year to get your grass growing and deep so that next summer, then I can overseed and add to it, but I've got an established base, if that makes sense. So sometimes it's cool just to let it go for a year, let your grass do its thing, say, I see you there, and just section off, just get in your mind, take pictures, this is where it is, it's gonna come back, I just need to be prepared to fix these areas. So I think we beat that horse. We beat that, but that's a big topic in North Carolina because there's a gorgeous lawn up here on the street that's totally 100% Bermuda that looks amazing. And there's, and even here in the transition zone, we deal with people that may want to have Bermuda and you may want to have fescue. Well, guess what? That Bermuda don't just stop on a property line. It's going to come over into your lawn. So that's something that people deal with here more than up north as well, where everybody is Kentucky bluegrass, rye, fescue. It's different in the transition zone with the blend of different type lawns. So we're getting dark, but maybe we can get 2 more.
Squeeze in a couple more.
Yeah. What time do you got?
It's about 5 till.
We got 5 till. I think we can make it. All right, Natalie, give us another one.
Okay.
So if you really need your question, do like exclamation points in the front and then ask it, and maybe Natalie will see it. So wait for the 4-wheeler.
Yeah, we'll wait.
Yeah, there you go.
It's that motorcycle guy.
All right.
That was the 4-wheeler.
Who's it from?
Neil White, he says, Mr. Ferguson, since you're a golfer, would you ever consider a warm season grass in your backyard for putting? I laid Xeon Zoysia, same thing, in my backyard itself, and it's amazing for putting.
That's
a putting green. There you go.
Yeah, me and
talked
Mr.
about that
Kevin.
at church.
Yeah, we did.
talked about doing that at
I was
church.
talking to Kevin, I think, the other day. This guy called Lawn Tips. He's in Australia. He made a green, I think in his backyard or yard somewhere. And is it bent grass? I want to say it's bent grass.
It may be.
I can't remember. But it's a legit like PGA looking green. And I mean, he's cutting it millimeters, and it's just phenomenal. Would I ever do that back here? Absolutely not. That's why I go to a golf course and beat the crap out of Bermuda with my clubs, and I sand up my hole, my divots. No, have I thought about it? Sure, but that's where it stops because I'm not. It would be cool to walk out here and putt, but no, I would never actually do that, especially in a subdivision. And yeah, it wouldn't work here. That's the same reason why I haven't went irrigation here. Number 1 is money. Number 2, we don't plan to be here forever. So that's the other factor of your lawn that you have to, you know, whether this is your forever home or like, we're looking at maybe moving up to a bigger house. And so how much do we want to put into this property? So I know that's way off topic, but no, I would never put zoysia in the backyard. We've talked about Bermuda and talked about the layout of trees in our lawn here recently, like Mr. Kevin's, he's got full sun over there versus me, I've got shade trees. So the way your property is structured and the trees that you've got may set you up for a dense shade mix everywhere in your lawn. Mr. Kevin, he could go fescue with the full sun. He could go straight Bermuda, and that's what we was talking about that he may try at one point. Me, I've got some shade in some areas that the Bermuda probably wouldn't like, but no, I just go to the golf course and beat up their grass and let them fix it. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, it does. That's what Bermuda deserves. Is Blake still awake?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, we're good. Yeah, chicken. All right, that was a quick one. Nobody else? Nobody else cares about us? All right, Jesus loves us.
It's good timing.
That is good timing. So how many people we end up with that hung around? We got 31. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you've had, if you got a last question before we sign off, we'll let Natalie, if she raises her hand, we'll get to the last one. But truly, thank you guys so much. I hope you've enjoyed this. We enjoy it. We get to eat chicken. We get to talk. We get to hang out, and we get to do a show for you guys. I see my wife over here.
Did you talk about the project lawn?
No, we hadn't.
No.
You should talk about
Okay,
the
Miss
project
Ferguson
lawn.
wants to come over
I'm
here.
not.
Come on over. So we did a video on it. They're released today. If you didn't see it, go watch it. But so go watch that part. Was it Terry?
Yep.
Yeah. So Mr. Blake's cousin, Terry, came out. If you didn't watch Friday's video, released at 7 a.m. this morning, we got clips, Mr. Blake's clips of him coming out with his teeth. He tore up the ground. We showed you that before church on Wednesday. Then later on, as I said in the video, like I woke up like it's time to go to work. I never wake up that early on Thursday mornings, but I jumped in the truck, went over, took the hard rake, kind of evened out one section, took the fine tooth rake, and we cleaned up some of the rocks. And then Mrs. Ferguson, Madison, and Holly, Mr. Blake's wife, they went out for. She just wants to be on camera. Yeah, there. You can't see. You gotta go stand by your hubby over there. There you go. This is the end of the stream anyway, so they can get in here. Here, you sit down.
Let me get
No,
sit
I
down
don't
here.
want to sit. Nope.
Oh, I see. Y'all bring the women out at the end of the stream. That's how I did.
That's exactly what we did.
Yeah. So here's Natalie. So, but anyways, just to talk about
you
that.
didn't talk about 50 minutes
All right, go ahead.
of hard sweat and labor.
Yep. Let's
Raking?
raise it up just
Was
a little
it 50
bit.
minutes?
It was
Oh,
50
because
minutes.
I didn't know if it was 60
It was
minutes.
50
I
minutes.
didn't know
Although
if
if
it
you
was
ask
60
Pastor Joe, it was only 15.
We got a
which
question.
is not
Oh,
true.
your question.
We got a question.
So, anyways, last.
Question for who?
All right, hold on.
We'll wrap this up first.
Yep. So last point on the project lawn is that Miss Holly, Mr. Blake's wife, and my wife, that the preschool workers and the admin worker went out and helped rake the project lawn. So they worked on some of the hill for 50 minutes in the toiling heat. And so we wanted to mention that. So we'll keep giving you updates on the project lawn because I'm excited. That's my overseeding this year. I'm not doing it here, but we're doing it up there, and I really want that to look good. So big shout out to Mr. Terry. So
Lonstradamus wants to know if climate was not an issue, what would be your choice of lawn to have?
if
Climate's no issue. I
Climate's no
assume
issue.
water's no issue too. Everybody lives on a well and has perfect weather.
Bluegrass.
Yeah.
Bluegrass.
I think we hit on that a little bit earlier, and you may have missed it. But
Hands down,
I
bluegrass.
think all three of us were definitely bluegrass.
No, I'm not going blue. If I had any climate, any
okay.
grass, I'm going tall fescue and bluegrass because
You still gonna blend it?
yes, I'm still going to blend it because I don't trust the climate. I will never trust the climate. I want the tall. Now here's the other reason, and this may help somebody, and I heard this from somebody and I've not forgot it. If disease hits your yard and it targets the fescue, the Kentucky bluegrass should come out alive. If it's a disease that will target Kentucky bluegrass, the fescue will come out alive sometime. If it targets just cool season, well, they're both screwed. But somebody had mentioned mixing multiple types or not cultivars, I guess, different types of grass, so that if disease comes, it doesn't wipe out your entire yard. But that aside, that's just a bonus. But I love the cool blue. I'm dead serious. Like, I'm so excited to put it at our church because when I did that here, man, it striped so beautifully. We don't have a lawn striper at the church, but I'm going to carry my mower up there and stripe it. You better believe that. But I think I would go tall fescue and Kentucky bluegrass. I do like the way the golf greens look, but just knowing how much it takes to maintain it, sand it, level it, it's got to be perfectly, flat and all that. I wouldn't want to deal with that because I don't know it. But yeah, I would go tall fescue and bluegrass. Do you have?
No, Blake was going to say something.
We have some awesome members of the church. There may be a lawn striper in the works. I'm just saying.
Hey, we might get that PVC lawn striper
I
with
think
some bungee cords on the back of
I
it.
think I know what you're talking
I
about.
mean, we
there.
got some
Yeah.
awesome members. So if you're ever in our area, you're looking for a new church, New Hope Worship Center.
Yep, Lewisburg, North Carolina.
Wayne O'Neill, last question, says,
Wayne?
wants to know if any of you use gypsum.
Yeah, we were talking about
We
that.
talked about that a couple days ago, actually.
For,
Using gypsum.
yeah, I think it was for pH levels, right? I can't remember now.
Yeah.
Wayne?
Well, we started talking about it because my pH is a little bit low, so
Oh,
of course I'm going to need to throw some
Okay.
lime. But it had been brought up about gypsum and some of the qualities it has about pH.
Yep.
I've not
Can't
used
remember.
it. I don't know a whole lot about it, so I don't feel like a professional enough to answer
Right.
it. But
Yeah.
that may be a video idea.
Yeah, we talked about it. I don't know if we talked. I think I mentioned it. I can't remember, but Google it. But it does. I want to say it raises maybe because you said I think it's in lime maybe or a part of lime or like lime. I can't remember. I want to say that it raises pH, but I'm not 100% sure. I know citric acid, and I know that ammonium sulfate, the fertilizer, ammonium sulfate, and I know that citric acid help to lower pH and get you back down. A lime obviously raises it. I want to say gypsum raises it, but I thought there was a side note about that. You got to be careful with it, but I'm not 100%. I'm like him. I don't want to tell anybody, go do this. You go do it and you say, that guy screwed my lawn up. So we're hesitant to answer. So anyways, somebody asked something. What'd you get? Oh, let's see if I can catch it. The best 2 grass stream. Oh, I use it every fall with overseeding. Okay, so Wayne's familiar with it. He uses it every fall for overseed. So I think somebody was just commenting on the stream. So thank you guys so much. We'll wrap it up. We're in the dark here. I don't know. I've got a little cheap LED light here.
It's pitch black now.
Yeah, we'll go Mr. Ferguson camera style. There you go. So there's Mr. Blake. I don't know if you can see us over here. There we go. So yeah, that ain't gonna work. So all right, what?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you've enjoyed it. Leave a like so that it can get out to more people and they may be able to listen to your question and it help them. So Mr. Blake's gonna go pass out. He had his D-Day today. Mr. Kevin's gonna go probably check out the chicken that's left on the stove over here. And I'm gonna go get a water because I drink too many Monsters. So thank you guys for tuning in. We'll end it there. We'll see you on, what's today? Friday. We'll see you hopefully on Monday. I'll be in Virginia with the family seeing the in-laws. So Monday's video's in question. If you don't see one, we'll see you on Wednesday. God bless you. See you next time.